this last summer.
And I am Alfredo Sosa, and I did the ride on my own about 2-3 years ago. I forgot exactly. I think it was 3 years ago.
Yeah, and I think everybody, I'm Michelle Cortez Harkins, president of the MBW, and this is Rick Harkins.
I'm Rick Harkins, the vice president of MBW.
We did it with Don.
We did roll with Don.
Last year.
Crazy ride.
So, Don, how many miles was our ride? How many miles was that?
Came almost exactly to 500 miles in the 6 days, right? It was like 75 miles a day, and it came out to 500 at the end.
Yeah, and they do have extra loops for people who want to ride more.
Did you do the extra loops, Alfredo?
Alfredo did, I'm sure. Come on.
I did extra loops, yeah.
We know Alfredo.
Yeah. Well, I made a mistake. I mean, I don't want to sound cocky, but I went with, I didn't know much about the ride. So the first day, I just rode normal, and I got to the final stage, final town, almost like nobody there, right? Because everybody's having fun, stopping, having beer, all the stuff. And I just rode it normal, and it was way too efficient, let's put it that way. So you have to get into a sense of like ride slow and talk to people and take photos and eat the food and all that stuff. So it's a different. So it took me a day and a half to learn that. By the third day, I was game. I was talking to people, taking all the loops, all the extra miles, everything to make the day last as long as possible.
So Don, can you explain how we ended up even being part of RAGBRAI and how we got there?
I mean, we ran into people. We did a tour in Louisiana the prior year.
Yeah.
We ran into a bunch of people on that tour. That was Adventure Cycling, which is a more organized tour, frankly. We just ran into a few people there who had done it, who do it every year. There was one woman that was there who's done it for 38 years in a row. I personally was thinking I was getting too old to do this thing because I'm 72 years old now. But they were that old too, and they do it every year.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. So that was the Keokuk Bike Club that was there. There were 3 or 4 members from that club. They said, oh, you can just join our club and go with us. So that's what we did. It was very simple. They were nice to let us join their club. They do this all the time. People from all over the country do it. And I guess the 2 main ways of doing this is, first of all, the RAGBRAI doesn't provide an awful lot of services. They will, when you sign up, the registration fee was what, like $175 for the whole week. Mm-hmm. But that just gets you an armband to go on the ride, and they'll take your luggage. Mm-hmm. Then you kind of have to decide a lot of other things, like how are you going to get from one end of the ride to the other, what other kinds of things you might want to have you with on the ride. The club we were that we joined up with, Keokuk, was pretty good about getting certain stuff, but they really didn't do as much. Alfredo, you used a private organization, and what did that cost, and what did you like about that?
Well, I originally went on my own, not knowing anything. I just hopped on the plane and showed up. And so this guy out of Chicago, I had a connection in Chicago, so I see a guy heading to Nebraska with a bicycle helmet. It's like, no way, this guy's not doing RAGBRAI. So I started talking to him, and he's telling me, no, I was crazy to do it that way. The way to do it is through one of these outfitters that their business is to like basically host people and move them along the whole thing. So when I go to everybody's already bought their place on these things, and so you don't book it last minute, you book it in advance. You do the whole thing through them basically. But when I got to the airport, they had a desk and their sign, welcoming all their clients, and I just talked my way into. I forgot how. I at that point I say, how much would it be for me to just join in and last minute or whatever? I forgot what the amount was. It wasn't a huge amount, but a lot more than the regular RAGBRAI. But what they do is that they set up their own camps, and so you go to their camp where they have their own food. their own entertainment. So it's like a sub camp on satellite to the regular RAGBRAI crowd. So so basically they provide showers, you can pay, and they actually give you a tent and they set it up for you. So when you arrive, there's a tent with your name on every destination. Or the way I did it, I didn't have time to do that because it was all booked. They just carry my stuff and I had my own tent. So you can do both ways. You can have it so they set up a tent for you in every location. You don't have to worry about pitching the tent or anything.
So Don, I'm going to share some of the pictures that we had from when we first arrived, so you can like kind of talk us through. We actually drove to the beginning of RAGBRAI, which was a very fun trip. We picked Don up in Chicago.
Yeah, Michelle and I drove to Chicago, picked up Don, and then arrived over in Iowa.
Yeah.
On one side of the state.
So Don, I don't know if you want to talk about what.
Yeah. So whenever you're doing RAGBRAI, you have to think of how am I going to get my bike? You know, it's a linear ride. So it starts in the western side of Iowa and ends at the eastern side of Iowa. Well, that means you have to get to the western side somehow. So we left our car in Keokuk, which is where the Keokuk Bike Club is, obviously. And they had this truck, which we put all our bikes and all our camping equipment and all of our rest of our stuff filled in on that truck. I don't know. I think, what did they have? About 75 people or something?
Yeah, it was about that. I think that's right.
Who was doing this ride. A lot of them were not even in the club. A lot of them were like us. They would just use the club. So then we piled all that stuff on. That's your armband or wristband that you're using for the ride. And then we got on a Greyhound bus, and this is just showing all the stuff they're throwing on there.
It was packed.
That's Don and me enjoying the scenery. Michelle.
Yeah. Then the next morning you get on a bus and you drive. I thought it was like 5 or 6 hours to get to the other end of the state.
Yeah, it was.
Kind of shows you how long of a ride it is coming back on your bike.
Yeah.
That's
the bus right there.
It's just amazing how much corn, you wouldn't believe how much corn there is in the world. For 6 hours we drove on that bus, and that's all you saw was corn.
When I did it with the outfitter, I flew into Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska. They had a bus at the airport that took you to the beginning of the ride, like a half an hour bus ride.
Yeah.
You rode your bicycle across Iowa, and then you flew out of an airport in Illinois. So you didn't have to go back like you did. The outfitters will put you in a bus and take you to the airport. So you don't have to do what you did. What
did you do with your bike, Alfredo?
My bike, it's a special bike that folds apart. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's options.
Yeah. So how did you train for this ride? We knew it was going to be really hard. So Alfredo, did you train?
No.
He's already trained. He doesn't have to train.
Okay, for us normal people.
He's already prepared.
Yeah.
Training. Yeah. He told us he rides with Margaret all the time.
That's it. Margaret trains him.
That's
Sure.
So Don, for us mortals, how did we train?
Well, I don't. What do you train? Just we rode a lot. We knew. I know it was going to be hot, so I made sure I got one long hot ride in with the club, the South Shore Century. I ended up doing 90 miles in a really hot day just to feel. I wouldn't say I had a training regimen or anything. Did you guys try to make goals of a certain number of miles or anything?
We did. They have an online training program that you can follow for RAGBRAI. So they say
specifically for RAGBRAI.
Yeah, before you get to the start line, you should have at least 1,000
miles of riding in the saddle. Just get your butt.
But I think it's because one thing that should be said is half the people riding the thing are not really cyclists. So these are people who are having fun and have a bicycle. I mean, I saw from children. I saw a guy with a baby, doing the whole thing. You see all the, very old people, all sorts of fun people. So it's not really a cyclist. I saw very few like hardcore cyclist people, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or people who enjoy the experience, which is what makes the event so much fun, because nobody's there racing anyone, or it's about experiencing the thing.
But you have to be in pretty good shape, because
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
you're averaging 75 miles a day.
Yeah.
That you have to, you can't just be
Correct. And I was going to say that the one training that I wish I had done, which was out of inexperience, is I was not prepared for the heat. That's the one thing.
Yes.
Yeah, us too.
So that's what really got me. Is that not while riding, but like in the nights and stuff like that. The number one thing I would do, tell anyone, is bring a fan for your tent, because I slept under the stars many nights because it was so hot.
Yes.
I couldn't be in a tent. Yeah.
I think we lucked out, because the day we arrived, it was the hottest day they'd had in a month, and it was brutal, because you're basically, Iowa doesn't have any trees. I kept joking,
no shade or anything. Yeah.
there's no shade, no. So you end up in a field at the start point, no trees. So it's pretty brutal. But the day we arrived, it was hot, but then it cooled off that night.
Yeah, we were very lucky the week we were there.
Yeah, it rained the first day we rode, and we really welcomed that. Actually.
Yeah. It got a little rain, and then the rest of the week was okay. But I think
it got warmer as we went along. The last day was pretty hot.
it was.
Well, and that's another thing to keep in mind, right? You have to go from point A to point B every day, no matter what.
Right.
They're not going to come and pick you up. If you don't arrive to the destination town the next day, you are out of luck.
Well, they do have sag wagons.
Yes, they do.
They
It's limited.
There doesn't seem to be a lot.
But they're always full. The sag wagons were always full.
That's because of the beer garden activity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing that I was going to say about the outfitter is that they did have a boss. So because, like I said, there were all sorts of people. Some days people say, I don't feel like riding today or whatever. They had the choice of riding the bus to the next town and skipping that day.
Right.
So that's one thing that I don't know if the regular crowd has. But
No, we didn't have that choice. I mean, the truck had like one spot if somebody was in bad shape, but that was about it. I think they could have taken, they might have been able to take two people with the driver.
So Don, maybe you and Rick can talk about once you get to camp. So you're riding all day, which the first day I think we made the mistake of stopping in every town, right? So it took us a really long time. But once you get to camp, what do you do about the showers? You guys want to talk about the shower situation?
God, showers.
Catch as catch can. Some places are really good about it. And usually you paid either they had a trailer with, a shower trailer, and it was a couple of bucks or something to use it. And sometimes they had, there was one, it was a pool. It was a town pool, and they were letting people use it, but it ran out of hot water within like the first half hour. So you were taking an ice cold shower.
That was the one we took, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, they had the car wash.
There was a car wash too.
Yeah, and there was a car wash. You could go in the car wash and get
Washed.
Yeah. And we should add that every time you go through a town, the fire department had the hoses out, and people were hosting you from the backyard, front yard. So it's really awesome, and that's also a way of. And they have this like little water fountain set up on every town to cool down. You see that?
Yeah, and the people were really nice about helping you out and stuff. That's a big point of the ride, is the people of Iowa are welcoming you, and they're helping you
the locals are like on the front porch clapping with signs.
Oh,
The high school cheerleaders are like, when you get to the town, they're doing a performance for you, and it's just crazy.
They have hoses out there spraying you down to cool you off. It's just amazing, absolutely amazing.
Almost every town you went through had some kind of band or something playing too.
Oh, yeah.
Then they had big entertainment at night.
Look at this photo. I mean, this is a town of like 150 people, and then this small.
Don and Michelle. There's Don and Michelle.
Connection is unstable.
Like every street full of people.
We're gonna come out or not?
It's like you come into a town, there's like thousands of people rolling in, and you have to kind of walk through, and you get to like, partake in the vendors and the community, and then roll out the other side.
Yeah. The one thing is that because there are so many people, the cell phone network collapses completely. You cannot even send a text.
Yes, that's the one
Absolutely.
thing that I think that I didn't realize was that you cannot get internet, you cannot text someone, you cannot check your email. There is no cell service.
So you have to have a game plan to meet your people, because if you get separated, there is no texting I'm here, because that won't work.
I did find it like 4 o'clock in the morning. You could
Yes.
you could actually get internet if you got up in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't overwhelmed anymore at that.
Or if you roll really fast and go there early, then before everybody arrives, then you can use it too. But that's
Right.
extreme situations. Yeah.
So Alfredo, how did you charge your phone? Because I know that we had one of the bike members had a solar panel where we could charge our phones.
Well, I hate to say this, but again, the outfitter thing, they have a whole truck that is a charging station, and they have like all these little, it looked like a post office mailboxes, and you have your own, and you plug your phone and leave it there secure for as much time as you need it. So, and they also had the trailer shower thing. They had their own. So, so you never ran out of hot water, and sometimes, there is a wait of 5-10 minutes, depending how many people are taking a shower at a particular time, but there was always a shower available because they had their own.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do this ride. They revel in the hardships. They think it's great to have a cold shower and not be able to figure out a way to charge your phone, and it's an adventure kind of a thing. I didn't feel that way. I like a hot shower, and it's one of the things that when you sign up for this ride, you just sign up for the ride. When you arrive in a town, you have to figure out yourself how you're going to get a shower and how you're going to get your charge. Now, if you do it Alfredo's way, you've got somebody who's taking care of that. And when you do a ride with like Adventure Cycle or one of the big companies, they take care of all that stuff for you. Yeah. But it's not taken care of here. It's a separate thing completely.
I think there's a lot of choices. So exactly. So like we did, we were with the group, but then we had to kind of figure out the showers and waiting in line for an hour. But I think it was an amazing experience, especially going through all the little towns. And I actually ran into a sign I saw out there with my family name on some gas station, which is kind of crazy, middle of Iowa, but it was a lot of fun.
Well, I always say, you remember the hard things, you forget the easy, right? Yeah. So the days, they could be hard, but they were in an amazing way, right? So like you would ride and you would stop somewhere and you'd find some shade, and then you'd like get water out of a hose.
Get the picture of the guy.
So it was really fun.
There are crazy things like this is a true story. I was riding, and you see these little churches on the side of the road. I don't know what they are. Protestant churches. So this one had a tub full of ice with beverages for people. I think they were selling it or something, right? But this lady was super hot, and the guy said, "Get in the tub." So the lady is in the tub with the drinks in the church. It was like the crazy thing, and a lot of things like that happened.
Well, I mean, I think that's another thing. A lot of people I've heard have said they don't want to do this ride because it's a party ride. Right. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't. I was amazed at how much drinking there was.
I was gonna say
there was.
They have every little town you go through has a beer garden set up specifically for this ride, and people were going in there and they were slugging them down.
I must confess that I did a couple of segments under the influence.
Yeah. We actually were wondering maybe there was some method to the madness, because
there is
carbohydrates and it kills a lot of pain, so it's not making it easier to ride.
Yeah,
but I didn't try it myself.
Unmuted.
Yeah.
So even during the ride, like Don mentioned, like in the towns you come into and it's a lot of drinking, but even during the rides at 8 a.m., there's beer gardens along the route.
Oh yeah, from the
As soon
morning.
as you start in the morning.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that sign you just saw about the Bloody Marys, that was
Right.
right first thing in the morning that I took that picture.
I was like, oh no,
But
no.
then you have like Amish people on the road also selling you pie. So it's like the weirdest
It
combination.
is. It's amazing.
You go from the beer garden to the Amish people in 5 miles.
It's a great experience. Unbelievable.
And there
You meet
is
so many great people.
Yeah, you could get Bloody Marys or pickle popsicles.
Yeah. There was one place we stopped. It was self-service Bloody Marys. So
That's
you
right.
paid
That's
a
right.
flat fee. You walked in. The bottles were just there. You poured whatever you wanted.
They had the vodka and
Yeah,
the Bloody Mary mix, and help
Yeah.
yourself. At 8 a.m. I was like, oh my
Yeah,
God.
that was breakfast. Yeah.
I think we skipped those, right, Don?
Yeah. Well, I did. I don't know.
I did. I skipped.
Well, one of the people that became one of our favorite, you'd see the same people
Oh yeah.
every day on the side of the road. So they'd have a lot of vendors. So you could get anything from water, Gatorade, snacks. But my favorite was the Medicine
The
Man.
Medicine Man.
I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Alfredo, was the Medicine Man on your ride too?
I don't remember. I mean, he probably was there. There's so many people. I just didn't. I fixated on the guy with the espresso machine. So there was a guy who had an espresso machine on a trailer, and that was my buddy. I would say, where are you gonna be tomorrow? And I would just find him. Mile 17. Okay, I'll be there.
I fixated on the pork chop man.
You did. You did.
That was not a good idea,
You
actually.
could see the smoke like a mile away coming off
Yeah,
the pork
yeah.
chop
He's
grill.
got these giant grills and he's roasting pork chops out. They were delicious. But boy, it's not. But they weighed about a pound a piece.
Oh, they were
And
huge.
that's not a good riding thing to do after
No.
you finish a gigantic pork chop and
And
jump up.
the turkey legs too. Do you have those turkey legs?
Yes, yeah, yep.
Oh,
Huge
no,
turkey
no, we
legs.
did not, Don. You had the turkey legs.
Well, you guys have your own predilection.
This is amazing.
we
Predilection.
had our pickles.
Yeah, well, there's the smoke from. That's the pork chop guy.
There
That's
he
the
is.
Smoke from
That's
his grill,
crazy.
Really,
filling the road as you
this
try
is
to
the
ride up.
RAGBRAI right across Iowa.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can see it for miles.
Yeah. What
And-
about the pie competition?
Yeah, pie is a theme of the ride too. There's a piece of pie. You're supposed to have a different piece of pie every day.
Every
You
day.
not repeat what you got.
They're saying about showers. One town opened up the car wash. People went through the car wash on their bikes
That's
to cool
great.
off.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that was the most amazing thing was like the different creative ways that they would have for showering, like whether it was at the pool or. But I mean, these towns aren't equipped to have
40,000
15,000 people plus the crews and everybody coming in all at once. So they
Yeah.
really had to like figure out where are we going to get all the hot water? How are we going to give everyone a shower?
I think the day-to-day ranges too, like 15,000 to 40,000.
This year with
It
COVID.
depends. I think when you get near Des Moines, which is in the middle of the state, you get more riders because people just come down from Des Moines. And just like the TFCE, you get a lot of rogue riders who just show up with their bike and ride with everybody. So it really swells the numbers, I think, when you get near cities and things. But it's a tremendous organizational problem for the towns. Not a problem because they love having it. They bid for it. They try to get the ride to go through there. Because
yeah.
let's face it, you got 17,000 hungry, thirsty people coming into town.
I think each year they do the route either northern, middle, or southern across
Yeah.
Iowa.
Yeah.
But it was crazy. I think they had 20 to 40,000 each day, depending on the day. You know.
Right.
And another thing that is fun is that local people provide entertainment. Meaning, there was a guy with a crop duster airplane, and he was offering rides for money, obviously.
Yeah.
I got into a combine, like
Yeah.
I just asked the guy who had it there, oh, can I get insured, whatever, and he gave me the whole tour. I mean, if you ask the locals, they're there to help. It's just incredible. And this is on the side of the road. It's not even the towns themselves. It's just you ride by a combine, and the guy will let you in.
So how hilly was the ride, do you guys think?
Oh boy! Oh boy!
Hillier than we thought it was going to be.
Oh boy!
It's like washboard though. It's no big hills. You never really gained much altitude. You go up and then down and up and down.
Yeah, I had my Garmin. I had like 8%, but short. Like 8% for a minute, and then down, and then up.
Yeah, that's it. All
and
short,
down.
up and down. And
Yeah.
some of them were pretty steep.
Yeah, but I think my concern on that was you talk about rolling hills in Iowa. It's not rolling when you're riding a bike, I think, because you're going up, the tough part. You come down, great, but then it flattens out along the cornfield. So it's not up and then down and up and down. It's like you stretch it out. So you go up, you push through it, you come down, you stretch out a little bit, then you come up again.
Yeah.
I think
You
also
didn't get that
depends-
momentum.
You didn't get the momentum to get back up that hill.
Yeah. The hills are not next to each other. Also, depending whether you're on the north, south, or middle of the state. Like I did the southern route, and I think that one is a little more hilly than.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we did too.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I thought was interesting is every time you ran into anybody, the first question they would ask you was, how many times is that, what number is this for you? In other words, how many times have you done RAGBRAI? Because people really, notch that off. Like, and we ran into people who've done it 30, 40 times.
Oh, yeah.
But that is the first question. People want to know whether you're a novice rider, and they really brag about how many times they've done it. And families do it. As a matter of fact, there was one I read about this woman. I didn't meet her, but she was 27 years old and she's done it 28 times because the first time she did it, her mother was pregnant, and her mother did it pregnant, and then the daughter has been on it every year since then.
Yeah, I shared a couple of photos. I saw a woman had a dog on a basket on the handlebar. I saw a guy with a baby, a tiny baby, had it on a trailer the whole time. Yeah, you see a lot of crazy stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we had a couple of people dressed like babies. They had like diapers on and.
This photo is those are the tents that they set up for you. Like you pay a fee to the outfitter, and they have your tent set up for you like this.
But this is the scale of this, just to make you realize that's a very small scale. It's like 30,000 people across the whole town. It's
so you look miles ahead of you like this, and miles behind still like that. So it's
like thousands and thousands of riders. It's amazing.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, like this kid. My kid was 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, like kids
and people dress up like this.
Yeah, there was a group. These were like 5 different ladies. They're all dressing as bees or what. And then of course you need to ask, what they're doing. And I think they were British. Actually, it was kind of the weirdest thing.
Yeah, people come from all over the world to do this ride.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
And yeah, this is like one of those nice little churches that you see on the side of the road. Typical Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this guy, for instance, I don't even know what that is, but he was doing the whole thing on that.
Yeah.
500 miles. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, remember the guy there was a guy who did the whole ride with a Speedo and a cape. That's all he did.
Yeah.
There's a picture of it later, I think, of the gentleman.
That stuff with all the clothing on top is my tent.
Oh.
Sure.
That's the espresso guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was my buddy. And this group, they had a Breaking Bad team shirt.
Oh yeah, I see his face.
So people actually come up with their outfits for the thing. And that's my bike, my Iowa bike porn.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the lady with the dog, for instance.
Yeah.
And the thing is that this looks normal after a day.
So that was fun. That's it's a lot of interesting characters out there. I think we'll show the babies. Do you remember the babies, Don?
Don, remember the babies?
Yeah, I did take a picture of them. They're in that album somewhere. But people.
Well,
Just-
and the other thing that we should mention is that at the end of the day, when you get to town, the final town of the day, there is a huge concert that lasts till like 2 a.m. So
Oh,
just
yeah.
another one.
Yeah.
So don't expect to go and fall asleep immediately because there will be loud music for a long time.
Even town to town, we unmuted?
Yeah.
Even town to town, every town, like you said earlier, vies to be on this route. And there's like local communities and
the
bands,
babies.
and restaurants, and it's amazing. It's
Oh,
the
the
baby.
That's the babies. There.
Flashbacks.
And lots of people with speakers on their bicycles and music. Some people have the
Yeah.
best music.
Yeah.
So you would stop, oh, what are you playing? You know, like talk to can I ride next to you so I can listen to this for a while? Sure.
There was also a guy with a trailer and he had a tuba in a box, and he would
Yeah.
ride for a while and he would stop and he'd take his tuba out and sit on the side of the road and play tuba music or
Play a
every time he
tune.
went by.
So Alfredo, what kind of bike did you bring? I was gonna bring my hybrid, like mountain bike, road bike.
No.
I'm so glad I brought my road bike because
Thank
I
God.
think that would have been too heavy.
Yeah. No, mine is a road bike. It's a travel bike, but it's a road bike. So yeah.
Definitely want to ride a road bike, or at least some kind of a hybrid, but
Yeah, maybe a little lighter.
a little lighter. Yeah.
Yeah. I met a guy who was riding one of those really fat tire bicycles.
Ooh.
He was a younger guy. He was in awesome shape because I was actually for a while like drafting behind him, and this guy has like, you know, huge tires. Of course, you know, he could only last for so long with those tires before he got really tired. But so people do it on all sorts of things. But yeah, you want to have a faster bicycle because if you're going to ride 70 miles, you know, you don't want to make it any harder than it is already.
Yeah, I got a different impression than you did, Alfredo, in the sense that I thought most people had pretty good road bikes. There were a lot of weird ones, but for the most part, I'd say the great majority of the people riding were people who ride a lot and had good bikes.
No, I saw decent bikes, but I didn't see the kind of bike that you see normally, like on bicycle clubs. You know, like you didn't see like the carbon high profile.
No, you didn't.
Like
No, not racing or anything like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Again, you're going to do 75 miles a day. You better have a decent bike to do it on.
Yeah. I think most people were respectful on the ride, and some people that were new that don't know how to pass and things like that. But there weren't that many of them, I think.
Right.
I think it was pretty good overall.
People get it really fast because what happens is when the hill up approaches, a lot of people slow down to almost to a halt. So if they're in the middle of the road, they're going to cause an accident. So people started to move into the right, the ones who are slower, and to the left, the ones who are faster. So people learn really fast how to do it. And the one thing that I learned from day one, which is really good, is how to get off and on the road. There's so many people that you just don't get off the road or on the road. You have to announce it.
Yeah, because there's a steady stream of bikes going constantly past you.
Exactly. So if you're going to stop or start, you have to announce it to the crowd.
Yeah, what was bike or on? Is that what you would
Like bike
Yeah,
on,
bike
bike
or
off.
on, bike off when you were getting off the road too?
Yeah.
Backer on and backer off. Yeah.
Which I
And
never
most people did that.
Yeah. And see the road that's behind Alfredo there, that's a typical road. And that would be crowded from one side to the other. Both lanes. It was
you would not.
crowded with bikes. A lot of times people didn't ride on the right-hand lane. And I hardly ever saw a car out there.
No.
I know they warn the people, the locals, well in advance to stay off the road that day.
Yeah.
And then I was surprised at how few cars you saw.
Yeah, and I was saying earlier, I think the police blocked some of the roads for a while, so there is no car traffic. So,
Yeah.
so not all the roads, because I'm assuming that one or two are too important, but normally they block the road completely to any car traffic.
Yeah, they get a lot of cooperation from their state police. There are, I don't know how many hundreds of state police they use.
Yeah. Well, my understanding is that what they actually do is run the RAGBRAI on county roads, which is not, the major roads. So it kind of reduces that, traffic, which is really, really nice. We barely ever saw any traffic.
Right. It
Yeah.
was very rare.
Yeah.
Very rare.
If you
Which
were
is
to do
great.
it again, now that you've talked a great deal about the challenges, if you were to do it again, would you do it in a way that more things were taken care of for you, even though it obviously would be more expensive, but the struggles that you had with waiting for the shower and finding your tent, finding where your area was with the Keokuk people and stuff, would you find, I know there are many options that they offer. Would you do it, or would you go through the same stuff again? Obviously, I wasn't there.
That's a great question. I think it's pros and cons of both, because I noticed a lot of times when, like Don, you remember this, when we were leaving a campsite, there'd be lines of people waiting for their vans and their trucks because they were in a big group, you know, so they kind of got stagnated. And I mean, there's pros and cons of both. I mean, I think we did it pretty well overall. What do you think?
Well, I would definitely do it the way Alfredo did it. I would definitely.
Everything's
I
taken
do
care
too.
of.
But you know, something to be said about the one thing that I noticed is that let's say that I was on first class, right? So it's a self-selective group of people. So when you go into town and you're hanging out with the characters, it's a lot more fun too, right? I mean, the people who were in my camp wanted to go to bed early and not be bothered with the music till 2 p.m. and all this, 2 a.m. and all that. So it depends what you want. I say that you find the most interesting people, the ones who are just winging it and going from one town to another and finding a patch of grass somewhere to camp.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of positives. I think every day you saw so many interesting people. Towns were amazing. Everybody was so happy to have you there.
Yeah.
They were so warm and welcoming. I think it was definitely worth it just to see the people in Iowa. And also the food was good. I mean,
awesome.
what did you think of the food, Alfredo? Did you
Well,
stop a lot?
if you like pork, it's heaven. I think if you're Jewish or vegetarian, it's a problem. But
Actually, I mean, I know Don took part in some of those pork chops, but
Yeah.
Joe and I are both vegan, and we still actually did pretty well.
No, the vendors are very
They're awesome.
yeah, they're diverse. So you find all, I mean, from vegan to to only meat. Yeah.
But although the pork was pretty nice. Looked delicious.
It was good.
Well, you had that in the turkey.
And the turkey leg, oh my goodness. It was like an 8-pound turkey leg, Don.
Yeah. Turkey leg was something that,
Pork chop should have been like at the end of the ride, though.
I have a photo with a
that's
turkey leg. You should find it.
Not in the middle. Not in the
But
middle.
another thing that, I mean, on the side, besides the fun, to me, was very interesting to see Middle America so closely. And there was kind of a sad component to it. There's a lot of towns that look like they had much better times in the past, and people who are like having a hard, I mean, like some of them look depopulated, to be honest. A lot of houses that are not occupied, and you know, so there's a part of that is also part of the experience, right? To see what happens in Middle America and how the economic growth is on the coast.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons also that the towns try so hard to get the ride to go through their town, because it was a shot in the arm for the economy.
Yeah, it's a big deal for them, and they vie for that, like we said earlier. It's kind of humbling. You know, you go through these towns and look at, you know, the experiences there, and that's part of the experience of the ride, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Is really looking at the communities and visiting them and partaking in their community, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Michelle, you haven't mentioned egg dogs yet.
Oh yeah, those were our favorite meals of the day.
Every morning.
Every morning, that was the first stop, was to get egg dogs. So they're basically hot dogs. We weren't strictly vegan on this ride.
We had to have a little more protein for the ride.
There was no real total vegan option. But we would have these hot dogs that had eggs in them, and
well, they weren't hot dogs.
well, yeah, they were
Hot dog rolls.
They were hot dog buns.
Yeah.
And we would have scrambled eggs you could throw in there, and a little bit of onions sometimes, and a little bit of hot sauce.
right.
And
Perfect.
we wake up every morning and like crave for them because we were just like starving, and our body needed some nutrients.
I always threw bacon on the top. just because I
You
was.
did, Don. Yes, you
I wanted to help
did. But every morning was awesome. We'd get out there and we'd look for them. And that's what part of this ride is. You'd see certain vendors you want to go partake with, and and
They follow you from
they
town to
follow
town.
you from town to town. So you look for them on the ride. We'd stop
It's
there.
not like you wake up in the morning and there's breakfast there waiting for you. You had to get on your bike and
Go
go find
find it.
So Alfredo, tell us about your last day on RAGBRAI, and then we'll tell you about ours.
The last day, meaning I don't remember much about it. Like you mean the packing to head back, or just the ride itself?
Well, we had a brutal last day. I mean, not brutal bad, but it was we were supposed to only do, I think, 50 miles, right, Don?
Yeah, we ended up doing like 90 or something.
No, for me, it was more like people were kind of sad. It was the last day, blah, blah, blah. You make friends and you don't want to see these people ever again, kind of thing. So, so there was kind of a sadness to it.
Yeah. Well, one thing, every day the ride was longer than they said it was going to be. Like 5 to 10 miles long. So if they said it was a 75-mile ride, you better be ready to ride 85 miles. Which doesn't sound too bad when you talk about it now, but when you get to mile 75 and you think it's the end of the ride, and you find out you have 10 more miles to go.
Where's my nap?
Disappointing.
My favorite thing was getting to the town and you'd see the banner and you're like, yay, we made it.
18 miles.
They'd be like, okay, you have 10 more miles to get to the campsite. And I'm like, what?
I think RAGBRAI measured the rides like from town to town, outskirts,
Right.
county measurements, and then you get into town. It's like, oh, we're here. And then I remember the one ride we got to was like these hills were like crazy. We were flying down like huge steep hills and 8 more miles, and finally you get to the campground, maybe.
Going up a hill.
But it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Now that you remind me of my last day, there was a stop that was at a winery and they have live jazz and it was awesome. I spent a lot of time there. That's one of the times I think I rode under the influence the last day. That's one of the reasons. But I arrived to the last town and then I had to disable my bicycle. I mean, because it happens really fast. The last town, there is no camping. You get there and you pack your stuff and you go to the airport. So at least that's how I did it.
Oh, that's the three.
That's a cute picture.
We're going on right now.
Great picture.
That was us the last day.
That was us the last day.
And this is where we got to the.
We dipped the tires. We
That's
dipped
the
the tires.
Mississippi.
It's Don.
Oh,
Nice.
great.
Dipping it in, all of you. Cool.
Yeah, people jumped into the water. It was so hot that day.
Cooling off. It was a fun ride. I do it again. I think.
I might do it in a couple of years if I'm not.
Does anybody want to explain why my knees are wrapped?
Oh God. Michelle had a couple little crashes.
All the time.
Well, between Don's toes, see his toe over there? Look at the picture real
Yeah,
close.
my toes all wrapped up. Yeah.
That's the
Oh
toe I-
yeah, yeah.
I wrapped up Don's toe like on day what day was that? Like mid.
Oh, it was like the first or second day. I ripped my toenail off breaking camp. So I had this giant bandage on me the whole week.
Michelle, and those are like arm,
Yeah, good point.
Those were the best thing I've ever bought.
but you have the rest of your body exposed and your arms covered,
I
Yeah.
know.
like
Well,
the shoulders. And
we used so
Well,
much
we
sunscreen.
did a lot of sunscreen on the shoulders, but
Uh-huh.
those little arm things were like heaven sent.
I was going to say, sunblock is a huge thing to have. There
Yeah.
were stops where they were even handing to people sunblock.
Oh, yeah. Especially in Iowa.
But there's no shade. There's no shade for the whole day. So you spend like 12 hours in the sun, basically.
Yeah, there's minimal shade. Is there a picture of that guy? Michelle?
Which guy?
The one in the Speedo?
Oh, yes.
But yeah, the shade is very minimal. Over the ride, I remember we were riding across Iowa and we came across this guy who was riding every day and he was wearing basically nothing. And I felt bad for him because I'm sure he was going to be sunburned pretty brutally. So we're looking for a picture right now of him passing out.
Well, everybody would go from tree to tree to find shade.
Yeah, we were looking for shade.
Sometimes I'd say, I'm going to stop. I'll stop at the next tree. Or
Next shady spot,
next
right.
shady spot. And sometimes it was like 10 or 15 minutes before you came across a tree where you could stop under.
Yeah, if we got separated, we text or try to text, and Don would say, I'm going to be at the next shady spot. And we found him eating a pork chop.
Yeah.
So that was
Or a turkey leg.
or a turkey leg.
I tried to do it when you guys weren't around. I didn't want to offend you.
Did you-
Get to the turkey leg here.
Where's the turkey leg?
Margaret, it
I'm
is
trying to give the turkey
canceled.
leg video. Where is it? Did you get it?
Do we lose weight?
Ah, good question.
No, I always gain weight on these rides. Again, we'll reference the pork chops and
Well,
the,
yeah, Don, you were partaking in pork chops
yes, there we go.
and turkey legs. Michelle and I think we're pretty level. Pretty level.
Yeah.
I don't think we lost weight. I think we lucked out this year.
There's a picture in there somewhere with me with a pork chop the size of my head.
Yeah, we just had that picture. We're trying to show it. I think with Michelle and I think because of our diet, we kind of evened out. However, there's the water refill.
Oh, that's filling water bottles?
Yeah.
Oh, look, that's like the one I saw in
Yeah,
short.
there's somebody in the ice bath.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was fun.
A pie.
We ate pie every day. That was part of the experience.
Yeah, that was part of why we didn't lose weight.
You were supposed
Yeah, I
to eat
definitely would
a
gain
different variation of the pie every day, which we
No,
did.
but let me tell you that I've done a lot of multi-day rides like this, and you actually gain weight because your body starts accumulating hydration and calories because you're thinking that that's the new normal, that you're going to be spending 2,000-3,000 calories a day.
Right.
So you actually don't lose any weight while riding, but then a week later when you come back, you lose the weight.
Yeah,
Right.
very true.
That's true.
Very true. And they did cancel the ride this year, unfortunately. We were just talking about that the jerseys, I think, are going to be collector's items. So the RAGBRAI jerseys for this year.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And they also have a big expo at the beginning of the ride with lots of bike stuff, and
Oh yeah.
it's like a carnival almost with all kinds of things in there. And then they have about 6 bike shops that really follow the ride. So every time you went into a little town, there'd be at least one bike shop. I mean, set up as a tent somewhere with all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I thought that was a really interesting thing, is that you could buy things on the ride.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take over the screen for a second.
Yeah. Let me make sure that you could do that. Hold on.
Oh yeah, it says
Yeah.
that
I'm going to give you access there.
And
There you go.
also, Don, did you want to talk about the dispute and what was going on and what they were going to do?
Yeah, it's complicated and hard to understand, but the ride leader from RAGBRAI broke with the organization after like 15 years of running the ride, got into a dispute. I don't want to get into the dispute because it doesn't make any sense, but he decided to set up his own ride, and he was going to do a parallel ride. It was going to be the same week and go not on exactly the same roads, but really in total competition to RAGBRAI. And there was a lot of fighting back and forth on whether who would actually do the ride and that kind of thing. In the end, they ended up, the new ride ended up saying they would go east to west the week after the regular RAGBRAI ride, so it would be like complimentary. But now everything's canceled, so I don't know what's going to happen when they finally get around to it another year from now.
So can you guys see my screen? My photo?
Yes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
let me just tell you, so these are just two local couple, this is what people do. They set up a chair on the front lawn and then just sit there the whole day. Oh, sorry. Watching people go by. Oh, that's my bicycle being assembled.
Oh.
Hold on a second, because I lost the, okay, sorry. So that's the guy.
So
Oh, look at this guy, for instance. He had this rig.
oh,
Was doing the thing on this rig.
I've seen that guy on other rides.
Uh,
Yeah, it's a weird.
I was into
erratic thing.
I was into taking photos of my bicycle with tractors. I don't know why. Hold on a
There were
second.
plenty of tractors.
Right part of the country.
My bicycle with corn. So okay, so this is the outfitters. The outfitters truck. Those are the people's bags that they will put in the truck. So every day, every morning, you throw your bag there. You go to the destination town, and your bag is on the floor like that, on the ground like that too.
Yeah, that's been my experience with the tours, like the MS. Remember?
Michelle, the chat thing says 6 things. Are there 6 people who have asked questions that?
Yeah, we've answered pretty much all of them.
Okay.
Okay, Don, here's your, this is against your pork chop. I mean, that's my,
Yeah.
like a photo.
They're yummy.
For instance, like this couple, I mean, I love this couple. So they were just there, they just parked their truck and they were just looking at, watching people go by. It was like local couple from Iowa.
Yeah, they look stereotypical.
Yeah, this is one of the stopping one of the towns.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this is the combine where the guy let me, hop on
Oh,
it.
I love this side of that.
Those things are huge.
Yeah.
For instance, this guy, I don't know, he was riding like that.
God. Scary.
And this is my dipping into the river photo. So I'm just gonna, okay, I'm out of the sharing.
Those are great.
Those are great. Well, thank you everybody for coming. Does anybody have any questions that we can answer before we head out? I think this was fun. It was fun seeing our.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's fun to hear about it. Sorry I missed it.
Well, there's always next year.
Next year, that's exactly.
Yeah.
I'll go. Who wants to go?
We'll see.
Well, if anybody wants to organize it, I just might join you.
I think Mike is a shoe-in, right,
Mike,
Mike?
funny, Mike.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We were just talking about it. I think Mike would go just for the food.
Oh, you'd
I'll
love
go
it.
with you,
Love it.
Mike.
Maybe he could be
Maybe
he could be our sag wagon though.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, let's do it.
Some people do have their own sag wagons.
That's
so some
right.
people have
That's
buses.
right.
Yeah.
With
Mike,
HD.
we're ready. Thank you, Mike. Thanks, Mike.
Well,
Did they have campers like RVs that were
Yeah.
sag wagons that went from place to
Yep.
place?
Everywhere. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you could have someone following you, and they would follow a separate route because they couldn't be on the same route. So they
Yeah.
would give them a map every day of where they could go.
And
They
they would
can
go off the
even-
road back to the route.
There was a meeting town in the middle of the ride every
Right.
night where those RVs and everybody could, you
Yeah.
could meet with your
Yeah.
riders at
Yeah.
that point.
Well, I can have him come and bring the camper, so I have a place to stay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can all stay.
Rent one.
Well, maybe we can organize a MBW RAGBRAI trip.
That'd be awesome.
That would be fun, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
it would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it soon before I get much older.
You know, and I think, Margaret, it's just such a great accomplishment. It's so much fun. It has its moments when you're like, oh my gosh. But when you're finished at the end, it's just so
It's exhilarating.
gratifying.
Yeah.
But it doesn't even have to be RAGBRAI. It could be some of these other tours that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been on a few other tours and they're always so much fun.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And someone asked if there were days when we had long roads with headwinds. Did you get that? I know we did.
Got a few.
Yeah, not a lot of headwinds, but there was
It
some.
wasn't overwhelming.
Yeah, I think it's not by chance that we go from the west to the east.
Yeah.
Right.
They try to set it up so that you're going with the prevailing winds, but there was one day I remember that
Yeah.
we were going straight into the wind, and then we made a left,
We got out
and
of
then
yeah.
it was like almost the second to the last day, I think. Do you guys
Yeah.
remember that?
Yeah.
Yep, I remember that. It was a big difference when you made that turn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It wasn't too bad. I mean,
It wasn't
normally
too
there's a lot of
bad, no.
headwinds, but I think they did a good job on structuring the ride.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't mind a headwind or a crosswind because I feel like it kept you cool.
Yeah.
especially with the sun sleeves, if you got them wet and then you put water on your neck.
Yeah, that's what we did every day. Our sun sleeves, we wet them every day and just keep them
Plus,
wet.
with enough beer stops, you don't notice the wind anymore.
We didn't partake in the beer stops.
I know, we would wait till the end of the day.
At the
I
end
was
of the
like,
day.
I did not trust myself to get on a bike after drinking a beer. I was like, I can't do that.
Yeah. But there were a lot of beer gardens along the route.
Yeah, there were
But-
a lot of beer gardens.
But it was fun. It was a great experience.
Well, they say there's 3 kinds of riders on RAGBRAI. They're the people that get up at 6 a.m., head out on the road, and, you know, get done fairly early.
Belt it out.
There's the guys that get up at 9:30 and kind of take their time. And then there's the drinkers who get up at 11:30,
Yeah. People,
stop, and they still beat you to the
And
end.
they drink all day.
no, there are people
like,
who
how
arrive
did you
like
get
10
there?
p.m. They're arriving in town. It's like, where were they? You know?
I know.
They're on the sag wagon at 7 midnight, 7 p.m. getting in town.
I know. Well, the last day was, I think, it was funny because we knew it was the last day and we were struggling a little bit. And there was this sag wagon and I felt like it
Yeah.
was like a
That's right.
vulture, like circling us because we were like going, like they kept looking at us very like in this really concerning way. And we
Do
were
you
like
wanna get on the
waving them
wagon?
on, like, leave us alone,
We're
leave us
good.
alone.
We'll
But we
get
must
there
have looked very
eventually.
pathetic out there.
Yeah, it was a little draining at the end. But
Yep.
we had a good time. Don, it was a great experience with you.
Yeah, I had a
Yeah,
good time with you guys.
Yeah, it was a great experience. Anybody have any questions, let us know. And if anyone wants to ride it, we may consider it.
I think the one of the things that I would do is definitely, to answer your question, Lydia, is do what Alfredo did and have someone set up your stuff.
Yeah.
Because
having
it
support.
was, you know, after you rode like 80 miles or 90 miles, then you came in and you were like, now I have to get my tent, I have to get my, you know,
Yeah.
stuff.
Have to
on
rip your
the-
toenail off.
Yeah, yes, that's tough. That's something.
Yeah, and I wasn't going to mention, but they have massage tables with the fancy tour. So they were
There you
like
go.
in
There you
masseuse.
go.
Yeah, we got a couple of massages, but it wasn't official massages. They were unofficial. It was the
Yeah.
one that Mary,
There's a
remember?
Mary on our group. You know, she
Oh, yeah.
actually she helped me a lot on the ride. I had a couple of issues on the ride, and she massaged them out, which was good.
Oh, I don't know if we told you, Alfredo. Rick got the Schirmer's neck.
The what?
Have you heard of that syndrome?
No.
Where if you're riding your bike so long and your neck's like this,
Uh-huh.
eventually your neck muscles give out and you can't lift your head up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was pretty painful. We had a great experience between the three of us. We each had a day, I think, in between each other where we had our own issues. But I had that Schirmer's neck, if you look it up, and I couldn't hold my neck up.
Oh my
So-
God.
So I was riding.
No wonder you had the vultures behind you.
Yeah, exactly. They were looking for me.
Right.
Every time I would lift my head up straight, it would be so painful on one side. And the muscles had given away.
Wow.
And I was riding, actually, I was looking over the top of my wheel, and I couldn't lift my head up, all the way. So when I got back to I made it through. I suffered. It was a little bit painful, but I got to the end, and the lady that was on our group, Mary, amazing woman. I think she's like 85 years old, and every night she would give massages to the group, if whoever wanted them.
She
And
was a rider.
No, she was.
No, she didn't ride. She didn't ride. She was a SAG person basically in the truck, and she massaged my neck out that night, and I was able to ride the next day. I thought I had to quit. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
And she massaged it out just to get it loose, and I was good the next day. I was perfectly fine.
Amazing.
Yeah, she was really good. So we each had our issues during the ride. It was fun. Don got eaten by ants. Sorry, Don.
I didn't know. I was sound asleep. I didn't even know they were on.
Oh, there was one day, Alfredo, we went through this national,
Great.
or was it a
It
national
was a national
park?
park. Yeah,
Yeah.
we came out of the road,
I
went
think it was a
down into the
state park.
forest.
Geode Park.
Yes. Yep.
Geode.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And it was so hot. And we get into the park, and me and Rick got there before dawn, and we're looking, we look
We're
around.
looking for him.
and we
Where's
see
Don?
him, and he's holding his bike, and he just looks stunned.
Yeah, he's just like,
He's
where?
just like in a daze. And we're like, Don, you need to
Don.
come sit down. So we took his bike, we helped him to lay down on the grass, And we went and got him water and chips, and
I
he's
got,
laying in the
I got
grass.
bags of chips and water and came back.
He's laying on the ground, and he's like, I think I just need to take a nap. And I'm like, so he lays down in the grass, and he's sleeping, and there's these ants
Well,
crawling
by
on
the
his
time I
face.
got back with the chips, I had to wait in line to get chips. I came back, it's like, there's like ants walking across Don's forehead. Like, what's going on, Don?
We're like, Don, there's ants. And he goes, I don't care.
I'm not moving.
I don't care.
I'm done.
And then he took his nap, and he popped up, and he's like, okay.
Let's go. We're ready to go.
That's how we is
Yeah.
after any nap.
Yeah, that's
I
what
couldn't
that's
keep up with them the
for.
rest of the day. I was
That's
like,
why God invented naps.
In the middle of a heat wave with ants on you.
Ants on you. It was great, crazy.
It was fun, though.
But I couldn't keep up with him after that. He was like, I'm good to go.
Do you remember that day?
Oh, I remember it. Yeah. I really don't remember the ants because I really slept right through them.
You
so-
slept right through them. I know.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was fun.
Yeah. So it was a fun trip.
Yeah.
They're
it
fun
was
memories.
Definitely something I always wanted to do, and I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd do it again, but if we had a crowd of people that were doing it, it looked like it was going to be a fun group. I probably would get talked into it again.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, it was fun.
Well,
We
thank
could all
you.
use a tour right now.
I know
Yeah.
everybody does need
Yeah.
a tour right now.
I don't think there's going to be any this year.
No,
Tough year.
no, but we can start strategizing about one for next year.
That's right.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
agree.
Good.
Yeah.
I do.
Well, thank you for doing this.
Yeah,
was
absolutely. And
fun.
I hope some people can join tomorrow. We're going to have Liza Bean talking about bike advocacy in Providence and making safer streets. So she's really very knowledgeable about it. So I'm excited to hear
Yeah,
her
she's
talk.
came from Oregon and
Yeah.
from all the states she's been in.
Yeah, she's a really great community organizer. And coming up, we're going to have a chef talking about making bike portable foods and your own sports drinks, which I think is also
Snacks and sports
amazing.
drinks to ride.
Yeah,
Mm.
and we have a bike attorney who's going to talk about what you should do if you get in an accident while on your bike. So hope to see people for that. So
Great.
All right.
This is
Thanks
great.
so
Thank
much.
you
This
so
is
much.
great.
What a great idea.
Yeah,
Thank you for
very good
sharing
idea.
all.
Love it.
yeah, take care, everyone. Have a
Have a
good
great night, guys.
Thanks, Michelle.
There, bye-bye.
Stay
Bye.
safe.
Michelle, can you
everyone.
stay on for a few seconds? So I need to touch base with you.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely. Bye, Margaret. Bye, Mike.
Bye, Paul.
Paul.
Hi, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Don.
Great
Bye, Lydia.
job, guys.
Great seeing you guys.
All three of you did a great job.
Oh, thank
Oh,
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hope to see you guys soon in your back porch.